Hey, hey, hello. Welcome back to the DeAnda Factor, the space where we keep it all the way real, all the way honest, and all the way grounded. I'm your host, DeAnda. And listen, if this is your first time here, welcome to the family, sis. We're so glad you found us. This is a safe space, a no judgmental zone, a sister circle vibe. And I need you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell right now so you never miss a conversation like the one we're about to have. Because today we're getting into a super sister to sister, no filter vibe. And I can't wait to have this real conversation with you. Alrighty. So we're going to get into the first segment. And I want you to, okay. So raise your hand, and I know you're at home. I see you. Raise your hand if you have ever picked up the phone first thing in the morning, open a news app, open Instagram, open TickTok, and within 5 minutes, you felt like the whole world was on fire. Go ahead, let me know. Yeah, me too. Here's what I want to talk about today. The news is not inherently bad. Staying informed is important. And I'm not trying to, talk you into something, but there is a fine line between being informed and being consumed. And a lot of us, especially as Gen X women who are holding everything together, we have crossed that line. We are just reading the news. We are living inside it. We are stress eating it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And when you're living inside headlines 24/7, guess what happens? You stop living your actual life. And I want you, sis, to understand that this is coming from I'm doing it too kind of mode. Um, you start building what I call a gigantic stress bubble. And it's filled with worry about things that are completely, totally, 100% outside of your control. You know what I'm talking about. So today we're going to talk about 4 headlines that are doing exactly that. And then we're going to jump into how do you access that thing that go to not do that anymore, to get back into yourself and to leave those stressors, lay them down and leave them behind. Yes, this is going to be a really good episode. So I hope you're with me. Let's jump into it. This is real talk, and I hope you're ready. So the first segment or the first news story is travel costs. They're they're going through the roof, okay? So we're going to start with travel because, that's, one of my I have extra strong feelings behind that one. So that's why I want to start there. There are so many others, but we're going to start here. Travel costs is, overall, it has climbed more than 20% since 2019. And it's not just airfare, it's gas, it's lodging, it's dining out while traveling. All of it is up sharply. And according to NPR Illinois, now with the global tensions that's going on, fuel instability, and all the geopolitical drama we're watching unfold, some people are genuinely afraid to book flights, afraid that prices will spike, afraid that something will happen while they're away, afraid they won't be able to get back home. And these fears they're stopping you from living. I have a story. So a friend of mine is planning a trip in June to go to Africa. And while, she's been planning this, she's not going alone. She's going with friends and family. But she's afraid that she won't be able to get back home. And I was telling her that where she's going is one of the places that I visited last year. Excuse me. And she was like, oh, it'd be better if I were going to a European country. And I'm listening, I'm not saying anything. And she said a European country or like the islands or what have you. And I said, why? Well, I will be able to get back. I said, why do you think you won't be able to get back from Africa? I was like, they're not going to do anything to you. You probably be safer there. And the funny thing is, she said that the other people who are traveling with her are not worried. She's like, I'm the only one who seems to be worried about this. And I said, well, how much news do you ingest? How much are you ingesting? And she started rattling off headlines, and they said this, and gas is going to be running out, at this point, and so on and so forth. And those are just fear factors, and it's keeping you from living. It's keeping you from doing anything. And she said, I'm afraid that I'll get over there and won't be able to get back. And I said, that is so not true. America wants you back. America wants you back. You will be able to get back. That's what I told her. You will be able to get back. A factor that you will or should consider is, they're saying that fuel is running low and that kind of thing. And what airlines are probably doing, they are canceling flights. We've seen that. They're canceling flights because I am not going to crank up the engine for 5 people. I need the plane to be full. That's what the airlines are thinking. And she was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So, while you may not be able to, they may cancel this flight, they're not going to cancel that flight. You'll be able to get back, even if you have to change planes in between. But if fear is going to stop you from living and doing, then you might as well just not go. And I told her that. I said, if you are, if your instinct is telling you that, all these things are going to happen to you and you won't be able to get home, then don't go. Don't go. And you sit here and you wonder what if. You look at the pictures of the people who are going, who are not going to let it, stop them from going. And you wish you had, right? And the thing is, I get it. I get, when you ingest those headlines and you ingest that fear, because it's doing exactly what, it's set out to do, to keep you from living. And I understand the hesitation, but here's what I need you to hear. Fear is not a travel plan. It really isn't. Anxiety is not a passport. And the world has always been uncertain. We can just have more screens. We just, at this point, because I think about 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we didn't have all of the information in such rapid succession right in our face. And we have so many screens telling us don't do stuff, or let them do it, and it's just keeping you from living. What I'm not going to do? I'm not going to let headlines stop me from living my life and seeing this beautiful world. And I don't want that for you either. Okay? I want us to live our lives. I want us to jump out there. Do it scared, sis. Do it scared. All right, we're going to jump into segment number the second sec and news story number 2 is AI. AI layoffs and job market shakeups. That's what we're going to get into right now. So now, when we think about AI, we think about layoffs. They kind of syncing them hand in hand. You're seeing that people are getting so up in arms. They're going out and accosting and attempting to bring harm to AI executives. And in let's kind of go back with a few facts. In October 2025 alone, U.S. employers announced over 153,000 job cuts, the highest October total in more than 2 decades. And year to date, total surpasses about 1.1 million, making 2025 the most severe year in job losses since the pandemic. All right. So artificial intelligence, or AI, was the second most cited factor for these cuts, and companies continue to restructure and automate to a rapid pace, actually. Okay. Now I'm going to sit here and tell you that none of this is real, because it is. The economy is shifting. The job force is changing. It always has been. It's always been changing. And there's always been this fear attached to the change. I mean, this in your everyday, right? Change, kind of brings with it a bit of fear. But I need you to hear this. The thing AI cannot replicate is uses. Your wisdom, your intuition, your lived experience as an African-American woman who has navigated systems that were not originally built for her. Yet she thrives and have thrived. She's gotten on the other side of it. We've done it for decades. We've done it for centuries. And I just got to tell you, that's not in any algorithm. It really isn't. In the words of Mel Robbins, let them. And you got to find your sweet spot. Okay? What the news won't tell you is that this is also a massive opportunity to pivot, to upskill, to build something of your own. But you can't see that opportunity if you're paralyzed by fear. If you're letting that fear, just come in and take over. Okay? All right, let's move on. The next thing that we're going to talk about is cost of living and the crisis that it's bringing up. This one is close to my heart, and I want to talk to you about it with care and without judgment. And I want you to really hear me. Okay. Grocery bills have risen by over 25% since 2020, and wages haven't come close to keeping up. Middle class families are finding that um, fixed expenses like rent, childcare, insurance, transportation um, leave no room for food costs that are surging. Food banks report that um, more first time users are people who are visibly uncomfortable accepting help, working families, retirees, people who waited until the pantry was the only remaining option. The faces and the lines have changed. What it looks like on that spectrum is completely reshaped, completely. A nationwide survey found that 81% of families earning under 100K a year said the prices that paid for food and basic living costs have increased greatly or somewhat in the past year, and 90% of food pantries reported feeding more families than the previous year. So it's the landscape has changed, and how we get help and ask for help. There's so much shame behind it. And sis, I want to say this clearly. I want you to hear me. There is no shame in this. None. The shame belongs to the system that hasn't kept pace with the people inside of it, not you. The most resourceful, resilient women I know are Gen X women. I'm one. We have always, found a way. And, what you have to do is just, erase and remove that shame because it's causing you undue stress. It really is. And on top of food costs, there's gas prices, healthcare costs, the cost of existing, really. And it is a lot. I'm not gonna, sugarcoat that. That's the truth. That's what it is. Um, and it's okay to say that, And I think once you do face that and just, say, "Hey, it's a lot," and cry about it, laugh about it, whatever you need to do both actually, and then you come out on the other side of it. You come out on the other side. So the let's see. The next session is on social media scrolling, which is a stress machine. So let's kind of get into first admitting the problem, the scroll. Instagram, TikTok, even LinkedIn. I don't care which app has you in its grips. It could be all of them, really. They're all designed to keep you in a tailspin of comparison, doubt, FOMO, and low key anxiety. and you know I'm right about this. You hop on to check one thing, and 40 minutes later, you're convinced yourself that you're behind. You're not doing enough. You don't have enough. And everyone else has figured something out that you haven't. And I'm here to tell you that that is so not true. That's so not true. Um, and here's the other thing. This isn't just a personal willpower issue. These platforms are engineered to achieve the fear and comparison center of your brain. That's the product. You are the product. And Gen X, we came up before all of this. You can remember when you didn't have all of this stuff going on. You know what life looks like without a highlight reel shoved in your face every hour, every minute. We have the receipts. We remember, you know? So what do you say we use that knowledge? How about we do that? How about we do that? Okay. So the pivot segment, that's what we're gonna get into now. And I want to really look at and talk about how to break these cycles, how to get in front of it so that you are fully living. So now that we've named them, we've, kind of looked at a few of some of these headlines, because the DeAnda Factor is not just a space to vent, which, I welcome that. Let's get it all out. We're also going to provide you with, solutions. This community is all about, how can I be accountable and helpful? We come here to process and to move. Okay. Here are 3 things. I'm going to give you 3 things I want you to walk away with today. 3 of them. Okay. Number 1 is the let them practice, Mel Robbins style. Okay. You're going to love this. If you haven't read it or listened to Mel Robbins' Let Them Theory, I need you to put that on your list immediately. I'm going to tell you, y'all, I started back listening to it just this week, just because I felt like I was going down that rabbit hole. And I think the core idea is simple and it is freeing. Let people do what they're going to do. Let them do it. Let the news cycle be what it is. Let the economy do what it does. Let the world be uncertain because it has always been uncertain. Your job is not to fix all of it. Your job is to manage yourself inside of it. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Your job is not to fix all of it. Your job is to manage yourself inside of it. When you stop trying to control what you cannot control, you free yourself so much of the mental and emotional energy for what you actually can influence: your mindset, your choices, your community, your tribe, your next move. Okay? All right, number 2. Here we go with number 2, y'all. I'm going to keep going. Breathe and reboot. This sounds simple because it is simple. when you feel the stress bubbles starting to form, when you jumped into the doom scrolling a little too long, or the news has you spiraling, I want you to literally put that phone down, close the laptop, and breathe. And breathe, just like I'm just doing right now. And it takes seconds to do that. Try this 4 counts. In, hold for 4, out for 4. Let's do it. If you have to hold it out loud, count out loud, do that too. Do that too. And out. Do this 3 times, and that's it. That is a full nervous system reset in under 2 minutes. Can you believe that? Then ask yourself, what is actually in front of me right now that needs my attention? Not what CNN is saying, not what's on your For You page. What is real and present and within your reach? Okay? That is mindfulness. It's not complicated. It's a choice to come back to yourself. I invite you to do that, sis. I do. All right, we're moving on to number 3. Set sustainable boundaries and tap into your community, your tribe, sis. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to do it alone. Here's my invitation to you. Set a news boundary. Pick up one time. Let's see. I'm going to go back. Let's see what I want to tell you here. Pick one time per day, maybe 15 or 20 minutes to check in on what's happening. And what you want to do once you pick, because if you set up the stage, every day at 1:15, I am going to check my Instagram and put the timer on it for 15 minutes, for 20 minutes. Then log off. After that, you log off. The bell goes off, you log off. Okay? Intentionally. That's not irresponsible. That's self-preservation. In addition, I have linked below in the description the Sweet Spot Boundaries workbook, which can be a game changer. Okay? Setting boundaries is real, and it is a great tool to get you out of this daily routine of falling into the trap of, no, I got to find out what's going on. I got to be in the know. So here's the next thing. Secondly, and this one is a big one. Turn towards your people. Call your girl, call your sister, jump into one of your WhatsApp groups. I know you got more than one. Show up for your tribe. Show up for the people who are going to show up for you. Because the thing that the algorithm can't give you, and that the news will never provide you, is the feeling of being held, the feeling of being loved, of being seen, of laughing with someone who knew you before all of this crap started happening. I was about to say something else, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Get in community love. Call your accountability partner. What's that project we were working on for this quarter? Get in there. Do that. That is your sweet spot shield, sis. your people, your purpose, your peace. Do it. Do it. And give yourself and the people around you. I'm going to hit you with it. You know what I'm going to say. Give some grace. We're all doing this scared. And it's okay. Knowing that being in this world is, it's genuinely a whole lot right now. It really is. And that includes you, especially you. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. All right. All right, look, lovelies. Let's get into the Sweet Spot Sparkle Community Challenge. The challenge for this episode is a news diet for a whole full week, 7 days. 7 days, because we don't take off on Saturday and Sunday. This week, I challenge you to put your news and social media on a diet. Here's how you do that. And you might want to grab a notepad to get this out. And I'll also drop this into the description so that you will have it. But what I want you to do is set a timer. Allow yourself one 15-minute window per day to check the news or social media. That's it. That's it for 7 days. For 7 days. I'm not even asking you to make this a habit. I'm just asking you to do this for 7 days. Replace the scroll every time you reach for your phone. Out of habit. Replace it with one of these things. A 2-minute breathing exercise. A text to a friend. Or write down one thing you're grateful for. Just, do this for 7 days and see what unfolds. You may even want to get a diet diary, if you will. Share your experience, drop a comment here or post on Instagram, the DeAnda Factor, with the Sweet Spot Sparkle hashtag, and let us hear, what you're doing, how you're doing, what you're doing. And I want you to see how much space this brings you, getting in community, and being a part of a virtual hug with sister friends. We can do this together. We can do this together. All right. All right, sis. That's our conversation for today. And I hope you feel a little clearer, a little more grounded than you did when you first clicked on to this video. Because that is exactly what this space is for. This is your DeAnda Factor, your sweet spot. And I am so grateful that you chose to spend this time with me. Drop a comment below and tell me which headline has been hitting you the hardest lately and how you're managing it. Let's talk. Let's stay in support of one another and let's stay in community. Until next time, I'll see you in the next episode, and I want you to stay grateful, stay grounded, and stay in your sweet spot. See you next time.